I love interactive notebooks. I love the thinking that the students have to do when they put together the interactive notebooks and they're filling them in. What I don't love, though, is how long it takes them to cut out the pages and how they can make a huge mess with glue, even though they have been doing this for 8 years because most of my students are 8th graders. I don't understand how I can cut something in 10 seconds and it takes some students 10 minutes. So about 10 years ago, I did switch over to digital interactive notebooks, and I am loving it. They still have the same thinking involved, but this time I don't have to spend a whole entire class period to do one notebook activity, and there's no more mess with the cutting and the gluing. Now, there are different ways that you can do digital interactive notebooks, and it all depends on what you want to use them for. So I've got a couple ideas to help you out. Now, one of my favorite ways to use digital interactive notebooks is as a review before the exam. This is where my students already have all the knowledge. They've done the explore phase, they've done the explain phase, they've done the elaborate phase, and we're getting ready to do the actual performance assessment or the multiple choice test. And I like to have them fill out then that digital notebook. And what I usually do then is I will then, after it's done, I'm not going to grade it. I'm going to then provide them my answers, so my version of the digital notebook, so that way they can compare their answers to mine. So I don't give them the answers ahead of time. I do have them fill it out, and once it's complete and they've turned it in, then they get to use my version and they can compare it. They can see, did they get the answers correct? Were there any misconceptions? Because I want them to start taking ownership of their learning. I want them to start seeing where they're having mistakes. So that's where I love using the digital interactive notebook. And again, doing it that way, I don't have to grade it at all. They're in charge of reviewing it. And if they don't want to do or they don't want to look through it, that is their choice. But again, it's going to help them review for the exam. So I give them as the incentive that doing it is going to help them because I want them to start making that connection. Another way that you could do it is as a formative assessment between the explain and the elaborate phase. So during that explain phase, that's where they're getting that basic information. They're getting all that knowledge. Well, you can have them do a digital interactive notebook to see, did they really understand that information? Do they have the basic concepts down before they go and extend their knowledge in the elaborate phase? So it's a perfect time for a transition between the explain phase and the elaborate phase. Another way that you could do it is if you want those students to really start learning on their own, really start learning how to actually pull information out from websites, from the textbook, then you could hand them the digital interactive notebook at the very beginning of the unit during that explore phase. Hand it to them and have them find those definitions. Have them just do a compare and contrast by looking up that information. See if they can Google it. Using those skills, develop those skills with those students. That's a great opportunity for, again, you to teach them how to actually start learning on their own. Another idea is to actually have it as a menu choice during the elaborate phase. So in the elaborate phase, I like to offer menu choices, different ways for students to choose different things that they can work on to extend their learning. And one of the ways could be a digital interactive notebook. Now, if you're going to have different point systems for these, you'd want this one to be one of the lower point systems because it is going to be just like basic knowledge, review, compare and contrast. So have it a small percent, or it could be part of a tic-tac-toe menu where definitely to make that tic-tac-toe, the other two option choices would be more of high level. But definitely have it in there as one of the choices for students to do in a menu choice during the elaborate phase. So those are some different options for how you can use digital notebooks. You can also use this for regular interactive notebooks if you still like the paper version of that with the cutting and gluing. Again, you can use those in the same format, the same way, but instead it would be the paper version. Let me know if you found this helpful, and if you did, please go ahead and share this with your other colleagues. And if you use digital interactive notebooks, I would love to know how you use them. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching another Adventures in iSTEM and Beyond video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more Adventures in iSTEM and Beyond videos. For more ideas on how to incorporate science, technology, and skills for life into your classroom, go to adventuresinistem.com.